Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. And smash that like button right meow. You know you're going to have a good time. Okay, yeah, I didn't know last week, just a bit of an update here. But in between the last show I did and this show, pardon me, I'm opening up my own chat room on Twitch. I did find a place to live. It's here in town. Just the only thing is that I get the keys to actually move in on Thursday. So as far as doing my own shows, there's no reason why these would be interrupted. The only thing I could possibly miss is for some reason I don't see why, but the Thursday show that we go to, um, I mean it's at 7 p.m., so there's no reason why I wouldn't have the internet all set up for by then, but that's possibly the only show I would miss, but I wouldn't miss anything on my own channel. So that's really it. I feel like my camera's down just a bit too far. It's not, it's not set up too. Is it down too low? I can read my shirt. I think it's down a bit too much. Yeah. Something I should have done before the show. That's a little bit better. Yeah. It's a little bit too many things are up in the air. It kind of sucks because as I'm doing the reviews for this, I'm realizing, hey, I've got a prop I can use for one scene. Let me just go grab my fuck. It's box tops. Wouldn't that just figure? I'll mention it when I get to it. But yeah, just with the move, I've got some stuff packed up, some stuff not yet. So just I'll be getting that finished up, getting moved in. So for my next show, I'll be in a different place. And again, just the Thursday show that we all go to, I might miss, but again, on the one hand, I don't see why. It's not like I can't take a 2 minute, or not 2 minute, but a 2 hour pause in my day to go to the show that we see each other at. Yeah, let me just go to my own show for the recap for my last episode. You can watch all of these episodes of Dark Shadows for free on Tubi. Link is in the description for the show and for the channel. Oh, is this to the side too much? There we go. I should start doing a little pre-show before I go live. But yeah, you can watch Dark Shadows for free on Tubi. It's also on Internet Archive. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. And I also have super chats opened up. I've got Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee. Those go directly to myself. You're not giving Google 30%. You're not paying for AI content. I'm not spending it on hookers and blow. Your money stays in the United States. And if you leave a comment, I read it at my next live show. So if I get a comment and it's in between shows, I'll just read it at my next live show. Getting ahead of myself a bit, but I'm looking forward to being able to do at least a once a month balcony chat once I'm in at the new place, since I'll not have to worry about moving things around then. All right, to recap my last review. So Barnabas met Maggie, and then the very next night he commissioned Sam to paint his portrait at the old house. Am I doing the right thing? I'm suddenly very confused. What happened the last time? That's a better question. Was it yesterday when it rained all evening? Yeah. Oh, did I talk about the wrong thing? The fact that I'm reviewing these the same week as I'm talking about them on my live shows, I remember them even less. Hang on just a second. I'm trying to remember if I read my notes for the show tonight and did a recap on that stuff I haven't covered yet, rather than writing a recap for the 4 episodes that I covered prior. Because I don't think Barnabas has met Maggie yet. No, I think that's what I did. I am so out of it. It is just that bad. I thought I was gonna hide it tonight, and then I realized I just been just wow. Did I screw up that bad? I've made worse mistakes. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. It's okay. I'll figure it out. What was the last? Episode 217 through 220. Yeah, I think I did. I think that is what I did. I read my notes for tonight and wrote a recap about that instead of recap. That's funny. Okay, that's cute. So what happened the last it happened the last time? I am on top of it. Okay. Okay, so for the last recap, too late to start this over. The last time what happened was Jason brings Willie back to Collinwood to apologize, and he says he's sorry. He's sorry for scaring the girls. He's just sorry for everything he did, but he's just really just out of it. He's not looking anybody in the face. His eyes are downcast. He's just not definitely not himself. But before he can even go, he sees a picture of Barnabas, screams, falls out. So now he's laid up in bed. He's super weak. He just sleeps the whole day away, has no strength. But then nighttime rolls around and he wants to get up and get out of bed. Jason's like, "No, you're too sick. Lie down." Jason just wants, or Willie just wants to get out of the house. He won't say why. I just do. I just gotta go, Jason. Let me leave. But Jason won't let him. And so they're going round and round about that. So they finally do get Willie to leave after a doctor sees him and says, well, he's not sick. He's just weak from loss of blood. But they finally get him strong enough to leave, and Willie wants to leave anyway. He really does. And he gets up, he gets dressed. Jason gives him the money, he takes off. And then we see Willie showing up, following Barnabas around at the old house. And Barnabas, this whole time, he's been in the process of trying to convince Liz to let him have the old house to live in. That's where his ancestors live. That's the background to everything that's happened in his family. So it would totally trip him out if he could live there. And she finally came around, gave him the keys. So Barnabas has the keys to the old house, and we found out that Willie has been hanging out with Barnabas. That's what he's been doing with this time. So I'll have to write a recap for next time. I really just I recap the episodes I haven't reviewed yet. That is so awesome. Oh, cool. Again, I made worse mistakes. It's fine. It's fine. I got through it. That's basically what happened. Really good episodes. Watch episode 220. OMG. It's sexy, and we find out a lot of stuff. So that's one of my favorite episodes. Ugh. I'll erase I'll fix up that recap in the description. Yeah, okay, again, on top of it. So we're on episode 221. This aired on May 2nd, 1967. And it's the next night. It's day 59. It's nighttime. And we're at the Collinsport Inn. It's the end of the night. There's no customers. Maggie's just stretching, just finally time to go home. If you've ever had to close in a restaurant, you know what it's like. It's finally quiet. You just want to run out of there, get on home and chill. So she's just, making sure everything's off, just pouring the last little bit of coffee for herself. I'm sure it's been sitting there for hours. Grabs her purse, gets the lights turned off, goes into the lobby, grabs her coat. And as she's putting it on, we can see there's a shadow on the wall, like somebody's walked up, when we can just see their silhouette. But that startles her, so she jumps. And it's Barnabas. And he's smiling, he's sorry, he apologizes for startling her. And he just wants to know where he can get a cup of coffee. Maggie tells him, well, every place I can think of is closed by now. That's one of the charms of Collinsport. We roll up the sidewalks when the sun goes down. Barnabas says, yes, Collinsport can be lonely at times. But then it's not unique in that respect. Nighttime in itself can be lonely. But then one gets used to loneliness. Again, I apologize for striking up a conversation and wasting your time. I have a bad habit of starting up conversations with people when conversation's not welcome. Maggie says, I don't mind talking to strangers. I do it all day. Barnabas says, you're very kind. Good night. Turns around, Maggie stops him like, mister, I'm not going any place important, and I forgot to clean up that last coffee pot. If you want a cup of coffee, I'll get it for you. I want to go to. Glad you made it too. What's up? Yeah, I don't mind the recap. I literally just recap the episodes that I'm doing tonight. Don't read that. I've got to change it. Don't mind that at all. Should I take that out of the description? I think I should. Just in case. Yeah, I think I should. Yeah, I really think I should. Because then it's not a recap, but spoilers. Don't read it. Oh my god. Go there faster. Faster. Quick. Live. The show. Wait, did I type that somewhere else? We do have 1,025 episodes to go. I know I got that right. Oops. I said you look marvelous and sound nice too. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, just it's weird. It's like one day it's fine, one day it rains most of the day, so it's humid. Then another day it's fine. Then it's just this wonky back and forth. I think I had the window open last night to get the humidity out. Like, just make up your mind. spring. It's good to be seen. So Maggie, turns the lights back on, sets her purse on the counter. Cute purse. I wonder what color it is. But as she walks around the counter, pours a couple of cups for him, and Barnabas is sitting at one of the far tables off to the side. So she brings the coffee over, and no, he's sitting down, and she's just kind of leaning. She's standing up, but just kind of like leaning against one of the chairs, like sipping her coffee. She asks, just passing through? Barnabas says, no, I live here. Maggie says, well, I thought I knew everyone in Collinsport. Do you have family here? Maybe I'd know them. Barnabas says, I'm related to the Collins family. My name is Barnabas Collins. That shocks Maggie. Barnabas notices. He says, does that surprise you? Hey, you said, well, this doesn't, it's just that I've never heard of you before. She sits down. She's like, I knew Collins in Collinsport. That's big news around here. How are you related to Mrs. Stoddard? Barnabas says, we're cousins, distant cousins. Maggie says, well, on behalf of the town locals, welcome. Just sticks her hand out. They shake hands. Very friendly of her. So Barnabas thanks her for that. She's really into this now. She's like, well, are you going to live at Collinwood? Barnabas says, Cousin Elizabeth has been kind enough to allow me to take possession of the original family home. Maggie says, you mean the old house? Barnabas, I understand it's called that. Maggie says, I thought that place wasn't fit to live in, practically falling down. Barnabas, it will endure for many, many years. As long as there is a Collins to live in it, it will stand. Maggie says, there's a rumor about the old house. Some people say it's haunted. Barnabas, I never listen to such rumors, much less believe them. So this whole time Barnabas has been sitting there. Of course, he's got his cane. He's got his hands resting on it. I don't really have anything that would be... I do have a cane, but it just doesn't have any kind of fancy top to it. It's holding up some of my backdrop. So I don't have a prop for this either, but Maggie notices, and what an unusual cane. So Barnabas says it's a family heirloom. There isn't another one like it in the world. So Maggie touches it a bit, trying to just turn it around a bit, because it's got that dog's head on the front of it there. She says, is that silver? Barnabas says, gold and silver and very, very old. Maggie, must be very valuable. Barnabas, it is. But its main value to me is sentimental. In fact, it's my prized possession. I would rather part with anything in the world before I would part with this cane. It's part of my family tradition. So Maggie offers to heat up their coffees, and Barnabas says, yeah. So she goes around the counter, and as she's doing that, messing with the coffee pots, Barnabas just leans over and he hooks his, because there's, like 4 chairs at one of these tables. He just hooks the end of his cane on the chair next to him, sits back up. And right then we start to hear some dogs howling in the distance, as it happens nowadays. That creeps Maggie out. She says, listen to those dogs. They were doing that last night. Barnabas, were they? So Maggie sets his coffee down in front of him. She still looks kind of creeped out by this. She says, I wonder what they're howling about. Barnabas says, yes, I wonder. And it's like, we've never seen Maggie nervous like this before. Like, she was creeped out a little bit when she was first seeing Mrs. Johnson come into the diner, but like, we've never seen her this creeped out, just slightly on edge. It seems out of character for her, but she's a little bit nervous there. Barnabas like, well, I kept you long enough, Miss Maggie says, Evans, Maggie Evans. Barnabas says, Evans. Why does that name sound familiar? Maggie says, maybe you've heard about my father. He's an artist. Barnabas, an artist? How interesting. Well, it was nice meeting you. I hope to see you again. And this time he kisses her hand and heads on out. And she just thinks she's just kind of touches her neck. Just guess she doesn't get her hand kissed a lot, but she picks up the coffee. He did pay it for it. He left a coin there. I couldn't tell you what coin, but he did pay for his coffee because she goes over to the register, opens it up, pops the coin in. Just then from the lobby doors, they actually, in the Collinsport lobby, Joe comes in his corduroy jacket. I was thinking that it's interesting how when he came into the Blue Whale talking about those, like that dead calf, he had to wear his black coat, but now it's a different night and he's wearing his corduroy coat again. Like, corduroy is so depressing. If he would have worn it looking for that baby calf, he would have become more depressed, but now the things have lightened up a little bit. He can go back to wearing one of the worst coats you've ever seen in your entire life. They didn't want that baby calf story to be too sad, so they put him in a better looking coat, but now it's just a regular day. Damn, that is just the ugliest thing. I don't know. You look at Maggie. Look at other stuff. Don't think about it. But yeah, he's got that. But he pops in. Maggie's over there in the coffee shop, and she wasn't expecting to see Joe. So like, oh my God, what are you doing here, hug? Wasn't expecting to see you. And I think Joe was going to be working the night shift, but he got off of work early. He was just nervous about Maggie, and she's like, why? Joe says, you haven't heard? Maggie says, no. Says, like, the Ackerman girl. Maggie's like, a Jane Ackerman? Yeah. Well, Joe says that she was almost attacked on the road into Collinsport. Just some guy appeared and he tried to grab her, and she didn't see his face. And that's just awful. That creeps Maggie. Yeah, that would creep anybody out, but she just. So Joe's there to give her a ride home. Good man. But Maggie's cleaning those coffee cups out, and she's like, hey, like she's got news for him. There's a new Collins in Collinsport. Barnabas Collins. It's Elizabeth's cousin. He's staying at the old house. Joe's like, the old house? No one could live in a place like that. And Maggie says about Barnabas, he's very nice. He's quiet and polite and seems sort of sad, like he's been a lonely person most of his life. I like him. So Joe suggests that they go to the Blue Whale from there. Maggie thinks it's a good idea, and they're about to head out, but that's when Maggie looks up where she and Barnabas were sitting. She's like, oh, That's Mr. Collins's cane. It's like, I don't want to keep it overnight. Let's let's just return it to him real quick. Joe doesn't want to go up to the old house like tonight. Can't it wait till the morning? She's like, I don't want that responsibility. It's expensive. I don't want to get it back to him. We know where he lives. It's just 10 minutes to get up there. Let's just go right now. So Joe's like, yeah, okay. Kind of no reason to say no, but so they. So then we're on the porch of the old house. And they knock on the door. They don't see any lights on, like it's going to have electricity. But, knock on the door, no answer. And Maggie's like, well, he couldn't be in bed by now. He was just in the coffee shop 30 minutes ago. It takes 10 minutes to drive up there, so did they just dick around for 20 minutes? But well, whatever, that's fine. But Joe knocks again, still no answer, hollering hello, just nothing. So they turn to walk away. They get a couple of steps away, then we see like the doorknob turning, and the door opens up. So, okay. Kind of creepy, but they open up the door, stick their heads inside. Joe's hollering hello. Still no answer. The difference, though, is now there's candles burning in there. We've never seen movement in there that wasn't people or ghosts. So it's like candles. There's this giant, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a candelabra, but it's sitting on the floor, and then it comes up, and then it just holds up so many candles. So a floor light from 200 years ago, a floor lamp. There's no shades on it. They're just, like naked flame candles. But there are candles burning, so they assume somebody's there. Maggie says, well, maybe he's here, but he just can't hear us. So they step inside more. They were just in the foyer. Now they're looking more into the drawing room. They're stepping into it. And it is completely cleaned up. We've never seen it this way before. There's no cobwebs up on the chandelier. The windows are clean. There's a sitting chair over by the fireplace with a little table. Giant rug on the floor. It's like nothing is busted up in there. It's all like, okay, yeah. So over in the foyer, some of the wallpaper is a little bit cracked, but the drawing room completely cleaned up. It's so nice in there. You could almost live in there. But they're still a little bit apprehensive. Joe says, well, he's fixed up this room, but this place doesn't look fit to live in. It really does. Like, it's nice, but there's something that's not quite cozy about it. And it's just the fact that they just sort of low-key broke in, even though the door was unlocked. But it's got an atmosphere to it, we'll put it that way. But Joe offers to look for Barnabas upstairs because he knows the house better than Maggie does. She wants to go with him. He's like, no, stay here. I'll be right back down. So Maggie's in the drawing room by herself. You can tell she didn't want to be left alone, and she's just really looking around like this place is nice, but I really don't want to be here right now. Looking around a bit. Then all of a sudden she looks to the side and, jumps. There's Barnabas. She's like, I didn't hear you come in. You left your cane. You left it in the coffee shop. You told me how valuable it was. I thought I should return it to you as fast as possible. I hope you don't mind us barging in like this. Barnabas like, us? there's someone's with you? Maggie's like, yes, my boyfriend, Joe Haskell. And Barnabas sort of says this to himself. He's just Haskell. Like he knows that last name. Is that going to come up again? Is he just... How would he have heard of Sam Evans? We know he hasn't. Unless the Evanses were around back when he was around in town. But he says Joe's last name as if he's heard that last name before. But that's right as she's saying this, Joe's coming down the stairs and Maggie introduces them. And now Joe apologizes for just walking in too, and Barnabas says, oh, please don't apologize. I should apologize to you for causing you this inconvenience. I'm very grateful to both of you for returning my cane. And you can tell they both want to get out of there so bad, but they're just being polite and just like, well, it's late. I guess we better go. So Barnabas, can't I offer you something for coming up here? And Joe's like, oh, no, thank you. It's late. We want to get out of here. They say goodnight. They could not have gotten out of there faster. Oh, we didn't want to come up here in the first place. Just let us leave. Thanks. Good night. Bye. So they both go out the door, did not stay 1 second longer, and as soon as the door is closed, from behind the camera, Willie comes walking up. He says, why were they here? Barnabas says, you're not supposed to be here. You have a job to do. Why aren't you doing it? Willie says, where did you meet the girl? What do you want with her? What are you planning to do with her? What? Barnabas doesn't answer. So now we're back at the Evans cottage, and Maggie offers Joe a nightcap, and he's cool with that. So they're over there pouring drinks, and Maggie's saying how there's just something weird about the old house. I wouldn't want to go up there every night. Say, what did you think of him? Joe just, I don't know. He was polite. Maggie says he's very polite. That's what's so odd. For a minute, when I was alone with him, I was afraid of him. Joe says, what, did he say something? Do something? Maggie says, no, he just thanked me. There's no reason why I should be scared of Mr. Collins. No reason in the world. Maybe the house was getting to her. So now we're back in the old house in the foyer, and Willie is still at it. He's asking, like, what are you going to do to the girl? I saw how you looked to her when she was leaving. You got something in mind. Barnabas says, if I had, it would not be any concern of yours. So, Willie, why did she come here? Barnabas, I left my cane at the coffee shop where she works. She was returning it. Willie says, you left it on purpose, didn't you? Barnabas, I'm not prepared to answer any more of your questions. You have a job to do. Do it. Willie says, not again. Not tonight. Barnabas, you must. Willie, I can't. Barnabas, you must and you will. Willie says, please. I think I'm going to lose my mind. Barnabas, don't argue with me. Go. Willie starts backing away from him. He says, don't look at me that way. I'll go. He backs up, just scampers out the front door. Barnabas goes into the drawing room, and I don't know if we're meant to notice this yet, but I notice that there's no picture above the mantle. It's just completely blank wall. Though that picture of Josette was taken down. Well, Barnabas takes a candle from up on the mantle, and he walks over to the window. One of the you got the bay windows there, but then they'll always walk off to the one off to the side and look out that way, because that's where the camera is. But he goes there and he looks outside, and this was what I was talking about. I've got candles. I could have totally been holding one right now for the effect, but no, it's boxed up. That's what I was thinking of when I was reading this back. Like, son of a biscuit. But Barnabas is there staring out the window in the drawing room. And now we cut back to the Evans cottage. And Joe's asking Maggie, what time do you want me to pick you up tomorrow? Maggie? And she's just, she just looks strange. She's not paying attention, not looking at Joe. It's like he's not even there. She's like, what? Did you ever have that sensation like someone's staring at you, but you couldn't see them? I had that feeling just now. Someone was looking right at me, looking right through me. And then we're back at the drawing room. We can see him from the front now. Barnabas is just staring out the window. He's got that candle held up, looking outside at something. And we see the drawing room for the credits. Yeah, so now Barnabas gets to meet Maggie. Unlike what I said at the start of the show. I really did that. And everything for tonight and did a recap on that instead of doing. I think it's just everything having to deal with the move and everything that's got me frazzled and tired. I really did. That's not so bad because I've been doing these for. Well, I started in May, but I wasn't doing these regularly, so I've been doing this for almost a year, and that's the first time I've ever really screwed up a recap. I mean, I can rewrite it and put in a proper one, and put it on the video after the fact, but it's so funny that did not click for me at all. It was hard to get going this morning. This afternoon, I should say. That's how bad it was. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, so episode 222 aired on May 3rd, 1967. It's a new day. It's a new late afternoon. It's day 60. Oh, we're 2 months into the show. Sorry. Sorry if that made noise when I hit it. Is it still? Yeah, it's still on. Show's been on for almost a year, and they are 2 months in. All right. But we're in the drawing room at the old house, and Willie is just lighting. There's more candles in there now. There's like that. There's that little table that's next to the chair by the fireplace. That's got a little candelabra on it with these like glass beads, crystal, whatever it is on it. Very fancy, very nice looking. Like if you pick it up, it's gonna make noise. Like those are lit. There's candles on the wall, like these wall sconces with about 2 or 3 candles in those. So like those need to be lit. There's that floor lamp thing with just candles everywhere. So he's lighting those. And then off to the side, it's a desk, but it's also got this hutch with some books inside of it. And there's another candelabra on that. It's one where it's got a candle in the middle and then four others. So he's lighting those. He's got his vest on, so he's got his matches in his, vest pocket there, just casually. He's not nervous, and it's weird to see him not nervous anymore. Maybe it's because Barnabas is not around right now and the sun's still up, but he seems rather chill until there's a knock on the door and that makes him jump. And there's more knocking. So he backs up. He's in between. There's like when you first walk into the drawing room, there are these two pillars. And then next to this pillar here, that's where the desk is, which with the hutch. And that's where he's backed up against, trying to hold very still. To be honest, if you look through, you can look through the pillar and see somebody standing right there, but I guess if they're holding really still and wearing a dark vest and dark pants, you might not notice it right away. Because that seems to be what happens, because he hides and then the door opens up and it's Victoria and she's just calling for Mr. Collins. She, doesn't see anyone. Candles are lit. She walks inside, just looks around the drawing room. But then she turns around all the way, and there's Willie, so that scares her. And he didn't mean to startle her. Victoria says, "What are you doing here? I thought you left." Willie says, "Well, I started to go, but..." Victoria, "But what?" Willie, "Nothing." Victoria asks him, "Why are you here?" Willie, "I'd rather not say." Victoria, "Why were you hiding?" Willie's, "I didn't know who was coming in." Victoria's, "Well, who did you expect?" Willie's, I don't know. "Just do me one favor. Just get out of this house right now." Victoria, "Why should I?" Willie, "It's just better if you do. You shouldn't have come here." Victoria, "I have every right to come here. I've come to see someone who lives here." Willie says, "Barnabas Collins." Victoria, "That's right. How do you know?" Willie says, "I know who he is. I met him." Victoria, "Where?" Willie, I met him on the road. He had a flat tire. I changed it." Victoria, "What are you doing here?" Willie, "I work for him." Victoria, "You work for him?" Willie, "Yeah. He needed someone to fix this place up. Someone who could do a lot of things. Handy with tools and all. It's a pretty old house. It needs a lot of work." Victoria, "And he hired you?" Well, I'm amazed. You've changed so much in such a short time. I'm very pleased for you. Willie's, "Yeah, I appreciate that." Victoria says, or asks, "Where is Mr. Collins?" And, Liz asked Victoria to ask Barnabas to, invited him to dinner. Willie says he isn't here. Victoria, "Will he be back soon?" Willie, "I don't know." Victoria, "Well, don't you know when he'll be back?" Willie says, "I'm telling you, I don't know." Victoria says, "All right." So Willie apologizes again. Victoria really takes a real good look at the drawing room there. She says, well, you certainly have done a nice job fixing this place up. What's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. She says, it's quite a change from the last time I was here. Willie just said, thanks. There's a lot to do. Victoria says, this room's a lot more cheerful with the shutters open. Goes up to the window. She says, you can look out and see the nice sunset. Willie's, sunset. Listen, you better get going. Victoria says, well, I thought I'd wait around for Mr. Collins. Or, yeah, I thought I'd wait around for Mr. Collins to come back. Willie says he won't, not for a long time. Look, I can't hang around talking to you. I got a lot of things to do. Just please go now. I mean it. Victoria says, sometimes I don't think I'll ever understand you. Willie says, I'm not asking you to understand me. I'm asking you to go. And he opens the door up for her. Like, damn, dude. So Victoria walks up to the door. She stops and looks at him. Thank you. Walks out. Oh, what's up, Brian? Glad you made it. Says, happy Saturday night. Yeah, you too. Oh, don't forget to smash that like button. It helps out the channel. Thank you. So as soon as Victoria is out the door, there's Barnabas coming from behind the camera. Like there's a door back there or something. Barnabas says, well now, Willie, and that shocks him. He turns around. Barnabas says, you are a polite one, aren't you? You were in a terrible rush to get her out of here, weren't you? What was the matter, Willie? Were you afraid for her? Afraid something might happen to her? How very considerate of you, Willie. And the whole time, Willie's just trembling. He just backs away from the man. Barnabas says, how very considerate. So now we're at the Evans cottage. We're inside. Everything is off, but we can hear footsteps running up to the front door, like key in the lock. Door opens up. It's Maggie. But she gets inside, closes the door, and locks it just that fast. And so she turns on a light. She keeps looking back at the door. Like she gets inside, looks back at the door, switches on the light, looks back at the door, and she's wearing a coat. And she's got like this white, she's got her hair sort of in a ponytail back there with this white hair bow. And she's taking her coat off, and it's like she was running. She's out of breath. She's just catching her breath. Gets her coat off. She's wearing this sleeveless dress. It's got epaulets and then these pockets in the front with these big buttons. Maybe they're gold. A dark colored dress. But she finally gets her coat off. Didn't take that long, but she sets it on the chair. And she's relieved for about a second. Then there's a knock at the door, and now she's paranoid again. Brian says, no, I already licked it, Nikki. Yeah, I know you did. That's why it's always wet, like your finger always slips off to the side. That's why that happens. And Maggie's voice it's usually very steady, but when she was at the old house, her voice was shaky. It's the same thing here. She sounds so nervous. But there's that knock on the door. She turns around, and in like the least confident door answering voice you've ever heard. She's just, who is it? Through the door, we hear it, Barnabas Collins. Maggie says, Mr. Collins? She goes back up to the door, opens it. She only opens it up a few inches like that. I don't even think the actors can see each other, but like the door's just open like just that little bit. She's like, hello, Mr. Collins. Barnabas says, well, hello, Miss Evans. The expression on your face is one of surprise. Maggie's, that's because I didn't expect to see you here. Barnabas, you look as if you're going to slam the door in my face at any second. May I come in? Maggie says, come in? Barnabas, yes. I wonder if I could speak to you. It wouldn't take long. Maggie, oh, yes, of course. Come in. She opens the door up the rest of the way, and Barnabas steps in. And he like, well, Maggie has the door sort of, she's standing right next to it while it's open. Barnabas puts his hand on the edge of the door right by her face, so that kind of close, man. He's like, may I? And she's like, go ahead, and closes the door. Right, LOL, she probably don't want her blood drained. She doesn't know. She just, well, we're gonna find out why she's so shaky here in the scene. But I mean, like, she met this guy. She met this guy at work. Like, he came into her job late, and they had coffee, and then she returned his cane to him. So she's only met this dude twice in her entire life, and now he's at her house again at night, and she was just running up to the door for some reason. But Barnabas gets the door closed and just mentions it's a damp night. And it's kind of like last night where when Maggie thought she was being looked at, she's just, it's as if nobody else is in the room. She's just so distracted by whatever has her distracted. So Barnabas mentions the weather, and Maggie doesn't even look at him. He says, you are disturbed. So Maggie tells him, she's like, Mr. Collins, I'm certain I was followed, but I couldn't see who it was. Barnabas, well, that's strange. Let me take a look. He opens the door up, looks outside. It's like, nothing. Closes the door back up. So Maggie's like, well, I guess I'm just unnecessarily nervous because of what happened the other night. And Barnabas hasn't. He's, what, the other night? So Maggie tells him that a girl was attacked down near the waterfront, not far from where I work. A man came up behind her and grabbed her throat, but she screamed so loud that the man ran away. They don't know who he is. And this kind of thing does not happen in Collinsport. The whole town's been nervous lately because of those animals dying. But she's, I'm sure you didn't come here to discuss the local crime rate. Barnabas says, no, he is there because Maggie mentioned that her father was a painter and he wants to see some of his work. Actually, Maggie said that her father is an artist, not a painter, but we can. Oh, he does sculptures. Sorry, this was not what you're looking for, but Maybe there were a lot of painters back then, so when somebody said artist, people assumed painter. That's okay. I'm just sort of like needling in on a couple of words here. It's not that big of a deal. But Maggie's like, oh, yeah, go ahead, take a look. 'Cause, Sam's got all those different styles of paintings around. And, well, here's some that he just finished up recently in the last week here. And Barnabas likes what he sees. He says, I like his style very much. Maggie says someday he'll get the recognition he deserves. And, Barnabas wants to see some more paintings. So Maggie's showing him around. And just then we hear Sam from outside of the door. He's hollering for Maggie. So he gets inside, closes the door, and he says, oh, I'm glad you're here. So that's Maggie introduces her father to Barnabas Collins, and then she asks her dad, like, well, why were you so glad that I was home? Sam's like, oh, about an hour ago, another girl was attacked. The girl said she was being followed, and some guy jumped her from behind, and just as that happened, some car was turning around the corner, and the headlights hit them both, and that spooked the guy, and he ran off. But the sheriff thinks it's the same guy as the others, but no one saw this guy's face. So as soon as he heard about that, he drove down to the Collins Port Inn to see if Maggie was still at work, but she was gone. So he was gonna pick her up and drive her home, but she'd already left. Maggie says, I wish he did pick me up. So Barnabas says, well, she thinks she was followed home. And Maggie's like, well, let's not talk about it. Mr. Collins came here to look at your drawings or your paintings. So Sam's like, yeah, anything you want, it's all for sale. But Barnabas tells him, I've seen enough to know the quality of your painting is what I'm looking for. I'd like to commission a portrait of myself. Would you consider $1,000 to be a fair price? So Sam just, yeah, I'd say that's a satisfactory price. So Barnabas says, when can you start? Sam's well, almost immediately. Suppose you come here tomorrow morning and I'll begin the drawing. Barnabas, no, I'm afraid we'll have to work in another way. Would it be possible to do the painting in my house? Sam, yeah, sure. Tomorrow morning then, at your house. Barnabas, would I be pressing you if I asked you to begin tonight? Sam, tonight? I suppose I could. So Barnabas, actually, my days are so busy that I wonder if it would be possible to work only at night. Sam's, well, it's possible, but see, I'm used to the north lights to lay out my colors. Barnabas, I'm sure that an artist as skilled as you are can paint in artificial light. And you'll start tonight. Sam's, yeah, why not? I'll get my spare easel and stretch a canvas. And so Barnabas is heading out. He says, I'm very fortunate to find a man as talented as you are in such a small town. So bye, see you later. He takes off. Maggie kind of freaks out a little bit when she hears that amount, but then Sam has to totally play it cool. And I just want to look up in case it's changed. $1,000 in 1967 is worth $9,886.62. So almost 10K. I'm sure if somebody was painting a portrait of someone, they would charge more than that these days. Pay $10,000 for a portrait, and it's roughly the size of a cell phone. But now we're in the drawing room at the old house, and it's still pretty. And Sam's got his easel set up there, and this giant box. It's got his paints in it. Asks Maggie for the canvas that he brought. So Barnabas asks Maggie if she's planning to stay. Maggie says no, but then she says to her dad, "But I'll be back in a couple of hours to pick you up." So Barnabas, "It's likely we'll be working late into the night, and I wouldn't want you to be driving in the early hours. I'll see that your father gets home safely." Maggie says, "Well, thank you." Says to her dad, "Will you really be working all night?" Sam's like, "Oh, it's possible. You know how I am." So Mag's like, "Well, I'll be going. I've got to get up early, so good night." So she heads out. As soon as she's out the door, Barnabas, "Your daughter is a very attractive girl." Sam, "Yeah, she's a nice kid." So he grabs a chair that's over there in front of the desk. He sits it sort of. There's a fire going in the fireplace now. That's probably the biggest difference between now and when Maggie and Joe were there before. But yeah, there's a fire burning in there now, so it's a little bit cozier. But Sam sets a chair up over there. He's like, "Yeah, just sit there and let's find the best pose for you." So Barnabas sits down with his cane and his hand on it. It's like, "This will be the pose." Now, ever since, I forget exactly when they were just at Sam's house, but Sam started, he had to spark up. I don't know why, but he just felt like smoking a cigarette. And he's still, the whole time he's been at the old house here just now tonight, he's got a cigarette in his hand. Like, this is a nice place, dude. What the hell? Are these paints, are oil paints flammable? Oh, Arden, what's up? Says, "Hi, I made it. Woohoo! We kept your seat dry." Now, this is when I started to have a question. Like, Barnabas could have had Willie make some coffee for Sam, but I guess he had not planned to have his portrait painted until tonight, until he heard about the girl that was almost attacked, getting away from her attacker. Then suddenly he needs this done tonight. Okay. I noticed that sequence of events now. So now we're in the Collinwood foyer. There's a knock at the door. Victoria is wearing. She had this on before, but she was wearing a coat, so we couldn't see all of it. It's a plaid skirt, sort of a dark color, and then a light colored sweater with like the weaving that's sort of up and down. I don't know how to explain a sweater. And then we could sort of see this before, but we can see it now. It's like this double strand of pearls. Looks really cute on her, this whole outfit. But she answers the door, and it's Maggie there. She's saying she just dropped off her pop to paint a portrait of Barnabas. And Victoria says, "That's wonderful. Have you seen the portrait of his ancestors?" Walks over to the picture. Maggie's never seen it before. Victoria says, "It looks just like him." Maggie says, "He seems very nice." Victoria, "He is. He's very interesting, very intelligent. He's from the European branch of the family." Maggie, "So that's why he seems so different. I like him, but he just seems so distant. Have you noticed his eyes? There's something about them. Can't get them out of my mind. They just seem to penetrate. So now we're in the drawing room again, and Sam yawns. He says, "It beats me how you can hold that pose all night." Barnabas says it's time to finish up. So Sam just over by the window, he's stretching. We hear the rooster is crowing, and he checks his watch. It's like, oh, the sun will be coming up any minute. Barnabas says, "Stop now." So Sam's closer to Barnabas now. He's like, wait, there's a line I didn't notice before. Hold on. Let me get this down. Barnabas says, "I said we're finished." Sam's like, no, this makes a difference. So he goes back over. It's like, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that makes a difference. Okay, Mr. Collins, we see the chair. It's empty. He's not in the room. He's just gone. So Sam's kind of looking around a little bit. But then from the drawing room, Willie walks up. He's got his jacket on. So Sam turns around and notices him, like, "You? What are you doing here?" Willie says, "Mr. Collins told me to take you home." Sam, "Why you?" Willie, "I work for him." He hands Sam his hat and coat. Sam says, but I want to talk to him. Where is he?" Willie, "He had to go somewhere." Sam, but he was just sitting in that chair. Where did he go?" Willie says, "Please, Mr. Evans, I have to drive you home." Sam, "So I've got to find out about the time for the next sitting." Willie, "Mr. Collins said after sundown." So they take off. We see the picture, like the painting so far. It's got like almost half of his face, like not his nose and his lips yet, but like half of his face, like some of his hair up here. Oh, like the suit coat, that's done. About half of the whatever the background's supposed to be, that's done as well. And you can see where it's like drawn on there. And then for the credits, we can see that the easel is still set up with the portrait, but we can't see the portrait. We can just see the side of it leaning there. So I was figuring out what was going on. So Willie got bitten twice, had enough of that. So then he started grabbing calves as substitutes, but that disgusts him, just killing an animal as it should. So the man's got a heart somewhere. But then he keeps trying to grab these girls to take, and every single time they get away, or he has to run away so he doesn't get caught, and he'll do anything to avoid getting bitten again. As disgusting as it is for him to get bitten by a vampire and used for food, it's him or the calf. So then he's got to sacrifice these animals to Barnabas, and that's what's making him crazy. And try to grab these girls. Like when he can't get a girl, he's got to grab a calf. And I'm sure he's got to hear about that from Barnabas the whole time. Putting the dark in dark shadows. Oh my God. And Willie's barely in this episode, but John Carlin gets top billing. How much screen time did he get? Put him at the top. So episode 223, if you didn't notice, like when the sun came up, it became the next day. So it's day 61. We're still in day 61. It's morning. Oh, sorry. Yeah, episode 223 aired on May 4th, 1967. Day 61, it's morning. And Liz is we're in the living room, and Liz is wearing this. It's a dark dress, 3/4 length sleeve, and it's got like these big buttons on the front, and it's like half of the lapel is folded down. It makes this like square shape. It's supposed to be like that. It's not that she just didn't finish buttoning the buttons. It's just supposed to look that way. It looks nice. And a one strand pearl necklace, pearl earrings, and she's talking to Victoria, saying, "Why didn't you tell me immediately? I told Willie he can never set foot on the grounds again. So I'm going to do something about this right now." Victoria says, "Wait, I haven't told you where I saw him. At the old house." Liz says, "Well, if he went to the old house, he's probably already gone. Barnabas knows how to handle a man like Willie." Victoria, "Well, that's just it. He said he works for Mr. Collins. He's moved into the old house with him." Liz, "Barnabas wouldn't want a man like Willie around, even as a servant." Victoria, "Willie said he met Barnabas on the road. He told him he was sick and he needed a job." Liz, "Well, Willie's illness seems to have caused him endless convenience. I better go tell Barnabas what kind of man Willie is." So just then David walks in, and he's been waiting up in his room. They were going to get on to talking about South America and for school, so he's been up there waiting to do his schoolwork for some reason. And Victoria had to say something to Liz first. So Liz says that she's going to the old house right now, and David's, "The old house? I'll go with you." Liz like, "No, you won't." David says, "But I haven't seen it since Cousin Barnabas moved in. You tell me I can't go there alone. Then when someone's going, I can't go with them. I don't understand." Liz says, "I'm going to have a special talk with your cousin." So she leaves. And in the foyer, David's saying, it's like, "I wonder what Aunt Elizabeth wanted to talk to Barnabas about. She seems sort of angry. Do you think she's mad at him?" Victoria's like, "No, go wait upstairs." David says, "I'm not sure. I'm not mad at him for moving into the old house." Victoria, "That's where his ancestors lived. You can't blame him for wanting to live there." David says, "If I blame him for anything, it's for changing things around. That's why I don't want him living there." Victoria says, "That's selfish." David's, "I know." So now we're in the drawing room during the day. Liz is wearing a coat. It's this giant, like coats back then for women. Like there's absolutely no shape to it. Like some coats were. It's sort of like almost like a giant letter A, the way it just kind of comes out the way it does. And then it's got four even bigger buttons for for a closure. And it's got this thing across the back. I don't know what this is. It's, you know what an epaulette is? It's a thing that goes on top of the shoulders like that, and it'll have a button in it. Okay, like imagine one of those, but it's on the very back of the coat, like not at the small of the back, but up a little bit higher, as if it's meant to gather in the fabric, and then it's got like two giant, huge buttons on either side of it, and it's just a strip of cloth. It's I don't understand that, but it's. I guess you got to do something to the back of it there. But that's what her coat looks like. But she's looking around. She's never seen this place cleaned up ever, so she's just admiring everything. There in front of the bay window, there's like a two-seater little bench. You can see what that is in the daylight. But as she's in her drawing room there, just looking around, we hear the front door close. And David walks in, and Liz is at David. David says, I had to see the changes. It's so different. It's not just a change you can see, it's a change you can feel. It's like it's a new house. And he looks up above the fireplace on the wall there. Says, that's why it's so different. The picture of Josette is gone. And now we can really see, if you didn't notice it in the last episode, we can see it here. Or the episode prior, but Liz was just, oh, I didn't even notice. But then she points out that easel there. She's like, well, I think he has other plans for that space. David's like, and it used to smell of jasmine. Now it's gone. That was her special scent. And this was her house. And now she's gone. So then he walks over into the foyer. He heads for the stairs. Liz is like, well, where are you going? David says, I'm going to look for her picture. Liz says, try to realize this is your cousin's house. You can't go roaming around the way you used to. David says, all I want to do is to put that picture back. She's gone. She's not watching over us. I can't help but want that picture back. They're in front of the staircase there. There's this little desk with a drawer in it. That's not always there. It's there right now. But now we're in the foyer. We're looking at the portrait of Barnabas, and Victoria is saying that he looks exactly like his ancestor. And Burke's there as well. He says, I'm less interested in his family resemblance and more interested in how we could hire Willie to work for him. Victoria says, well, we all think he did it because he doesn't know what Willie is really like. Burke says, all you have to do is take one look at Willie to see what kind of man he's like. Cousin Barnabas doesn't seem too bright. Victoria, oh no, he's extremely intelligent. Burke, he certainly doesn't sound like it. We hear the clock chiming the hour. We don't see it, but we hear it. They walk into the living room. And Victoria says, Liz didn't mention she's expecting you. Burke says, of course she isn't. I said I had an appointment, but it wasn't made in advance. Victoria, she doesn't want to see you. Burke's like, oh, Liz loves seeing me. She likes someone who stands up to her. So Victoria mentions how Liz just has not been herself since. Burke says since Jason Morgan arrived. He's had a bad effect on her. That's why I have to see her. She's done something very strange. She's very unlike her. So now we're in Roger's study. And Burke is there with Liz. Burke he cuts to the chase. He says, I won't beat around the bush. Why did you sell that waterfront property north of town to Hackett? Liz says, how do you know I sold it? Burke's like, come on, neither one of us can do anything business-wise in Collinsport without the other one hearing about it eventually. Why didn't you sell it to me? Liz, well, that should be obvious. I wouldn't sell anything to you. Burke, so you needed cash. I would have bought it for cash. Liz, who says I need cash? Burke says, if someone forced you to sell. Liz, no one forces me to do anything. How could a man like Hackett force me to sell? Burke says, someone or something forced you to sell for cash. Now, I told you before, if anyone's going to do you in, I want it to be me. Liz, no one is going to do me in. Burke, well, if you have any other land you'd like to sell for cash, let me know. By the way, Victoria mentioned Barnabas hired Willie. I'll tell him if he needs any help convincing Willie to leave, let me know. Liz, Barnabas can handle it. He's a true Collins. So over in the foyer, David is sitting on the stairs and he's just pouting. He's just mopey. So Burke's sort of on his way out, sees David like, whoa, you must really be mad at someone. Just, I better steer clear of you. David says, well, I think I'm mad at my cousin Barnabas. I really like him, but he took down Josette's portrait. I feel that with Josette's portrait gone, that means she's gone. When I was at the old house, I was with Josette, and there wasn't anything to be afraid of. Burke says, well, if you like that picture so much, maybe he'll give it to you. David says, do you think he would? I'll ask him right now. It's dude is out the door. So now we are in the drawing room. David comes in, just hollering for his cousin, yelling for Barnabas. No answer. Nobody's there. The candles are lit, but nobody's there. So he's looking around in the drawing room. He's in the foyer looking around. Just nothing. Then way off in the distance somewhere, we start to hear those dogs howling and barking. So then David starts yelling for Josette. Josette, are you here? Help me, I'm afraid. And then the front door is just slammed shut all on their own. So David runs into the foyer. He's pounding on the doors. He's trying the handle. And we still hear that howling. We still hear the barking. So David's scared. He's looking around. He doesn't know what to do. Sort of panicking. Can't get the door open. And then we see the drawing room for the credits. Maybe I mentioned this before. I don't think I did, but everyone hated Laura so much that they became friends. If you would have watched, if you haven't seen the beginning and you've just seen regular Dark Shadows, it's just like say Burke and Roger and the Collinses begrudgingly get along. Like Burke's, they don't really like the guy, but it's okay if he comes into the house sometimes. Like you wouldn't know from that when Burke came into town, the Collinses were his sworn enemy, and he was going to do anything to take everything that they have. But then then Laura came around, and they're like, well, true, so I guess we don't like her more than we don't like each other. And well, I mean, so Burke it was sort of wrapped up because Roger admitted what he did, so there really isn't any reason to hold a grudge because of that. But if you're messing with the business and messing with the money, then Liz is going to be ready to fight. So, of course, they're never going to be friends, but they seem to begrudgingly respect each other business wise. So of course, Liz doesn't have any reason to like Bert, considering he was using Carolyn when he first got to town. So she's not gonna forgive that, even if it was all good business wise. But again, at least they let him into the house. He's not barred from the grounds like he was before. Oh, just a second. My knee against the table. It had to pop some Visine in. All right, episode 224 aired on May 5th, 1967. It's still day 61. It's nighttime, though. Because we are in the old house foyer, and it's just continuing from the last scene. There's the howling outside. David is inside. He's scared. The door won't open. Like, he's just, like, you can see his face is wet. He's been crying. But the doors don't work, so he goes into the drawing room. He's just looking around. And then he sort of stops and turns around all the way, and Barnabas is standing there as if he would have come in from behind the camera in the foyer and then stepped into the entrance of the drawing room. That's about where he is. Barnabas says, "Well, what's the matter?" David says, "The door. I can't open it." So Barnabas walks with them over to the door and just, barely touches it, barely turns the knob. It opens up just fine for him. Barnabas says, "Why were you in such a hurry?" David says, "Well, I was afraid of those dogs. We've never had a pack of strays around here before." Shout out to my band name, Roving Packs of Wild Dogs. I don't know what kind of music we do, but that's just the band name I have. So David says there's never been packs of dogs around there before. Barnabas says, "Well, I'm sure it's nothing to worry about." Yeah, loose critters, don't worry about it. Somebody's trying to snatch up girls and all these animals are off their leashes, but no, don't worry about it. Barnabas asks him, "Well, what brings you here?" David says, "The picture of Josette's gone. It's my favorite. And, well, if you're not using it, can I have it?" Barnabas says, "That portrait belongs in the old house. I promise it will be hung in one of the rooms after the restoration. You'll be the first to know when you can see it." So that's when David looks over, and there's Willie standing in the entrance there to the drawing room. David says, "Well, hi, Willie. What are you doing here?" And there's Willie. He's just quiet and just nervous and just very still. Brian says it's a good name, right? I mean, maybe punk music, but it happens in one of the Back to the Futures, probably Back to the Future Part 2, when Marty McFly is going to his neighborhood, and it's a wreck, and there's roving packs of wild dogs. I'm like, oh, that's my band. There's Willie Willie is not looking at David at all. He's looking at Barnabas And again, he's just very still, very quiet. You can tell when somebody's nervous and they're being quiet. It's like that. So Willie just said, "Hello, David. I work here." David says, "Did you know Barnabas and I were cousins?" So Willie just, "Yeah, it's getting kind of late. You better go." So David just, "Oh, okay." You know what? Goodbye, David. So David walks up to the door, and what Willie does is, like, when you have your hands on somebody's upper arms there, just he's trying to, as if he's guiding him to the door. But I think I see if it's more of a protective gesture because he's keeping his eye on Barnabas. So now he's got his arm between the Barnabas and the kid, and then he's trying to usher him out the door, like the whole time he's got like his arm up, or he's trying to like keep his body in between these two and get David out of the house as quick as he can. It's not a long scene, but if you look for it, it's there. I like to stop looking at this kid, stop talking to this kid, just let him get out of the house. But he can't say anything. So, David's over there by the door, and Willie says, "Now, you be careful in the dark now. Can you get home all right?" David's, "Sure, as long as those dogs aren't out there." So Willie looks over at Barnabas. He's like, "No, no, they're not out there anymore. You'll be all right out there." And he pushes David out the door. He doesn't shove him out, but he gets him out of the door as fast as he can, closes the door. So Barnabas walks up to him. He says, "You worry too much. Much too much." Opens the door up, hollers out. It's like, "David, wait, I'll walk with you." Grabs his coat off of the coat rack there. Says to Willie, "Well, I can't let the child walk alone in the growing darkness, now can I?" So he takes off too. Willie's just stuck standing there. He's wearing that vest again. It must belong to the show. I'm so glad he never wears corduroy pants. Oh my god. If he did, I would remember it, but oh my god. It's not like the last guy. Only are you a hell of a creep and a troublemaker, but corduroy, oh my god, let's tar and feather this guy. So now we're in the living room. Liz is wearing, I don't know what to call this dress, but I like it. The dress, it's all very dark, and it's as if the dress itself is sleeveless, but then she's wearing this sheer a jacket, like it covers up all over her torso, but it's also got long sleeves on it. So it just like this long sheer arms on it. You can tell it's two separate pieces, but it makes me think of that dress that I like that Carolyn has, where it's dark and it's got the sheer sleeves. This is reminiscent of that. This is two pieces though. I don't know why sheer looks so sexy, but it does. But she's got her giant, like these dangly earrings that are just diamonds with a stone in the middle of it. It's sort of a medium gray. I don't know what color that's supposed to be. If it's a yellow stone, it might be too light colored to be a ruby. It's not an emerald. I hope I get to see those in color. Casually wearing these giant dangly ass diamond earrings, but she's saying to Jason that Willie is at the old house. He says he's working for Barnabas. When's the last time we're going to hear from him? Jason's, "Well, this is the first I've heard about it. I'll do something about it right now." "Oh, and by the way, have you taken care of that little transfer we agreed upon?" Liz says it's being arranged. You'll have the account number from the Swiss bank in a few days. Jason says, that's fine. So I'm finally going to have a Swiss bank account. And you're making it come true for me. Like, thank you. So Jason takes off, but then we see the doors open up, and it's David and Barnabas coming inside. So Liz goes and meets him in the foyer. David says to her that Barnabas had Josette's portrait moved to a different room, and as soon as it's fixed, he'll hang it up again. So Liz says, good. You have no idea how worried David was when he found her picture was missing. Barnabas says, I told him once it's rehung, he can see it whenever he likes. So we hear the clock chime the half an hour. David goes through the kitchen door. Must be dinner time. So Liz says, can I ask you a favor? Get Willie Loomis out ASAP. Get rid of that guy. Do you know he's caused trouble in town? Barnabas says, I know everything about everything he's done. His past isn't important. He's been no trouble whatsoever. He's doing marvelous things with the old house. He's really quite handy. Liz, do you know he's been asked to leave Collinsport several times? Not only do I want you to get rid of him, the whole town hates this guy. Barnabas says, well, as long as you feel this way, I want to cooperate. I'll regret losing him, even though I have tap something on the screen. Sorry about that. I'll regret losing him, even though I have him completely under my control. He does what he's told without argument, without trouble or reluctance. Let me go so far as saying that no one will have trouble with Willie ever again. Willie and I have an understanding. Liz asks, like, you're certain he's reforming? Barnabas, no question about it. Willie's a different person than he was some weeks ago. What shall I do? Let him go now or give him an opportunity to prove himself? I'll leave it completely in your hands. Liz just, I guess we can give him the benefit of the doubt. Barnabas, I assure you that you'll have no trouble from him. So now we are back at the old house on the porch. Jason knocks on the door. The door opens up. Willie's there. He's got his jacket on now. He's surprised to see his friend there. It's Jason. Jason's, oh, you've got a good memory for names, seeing as we haven't seen each other for a few days. Since you were leaving Collinsport, may I come in? And he just pushes him aside. Willie tries to say something like, I don't think that would, and dude just walks in. Clearly not a vampire. I guess the rule would apply there now since somebody lives there. I mean, like, say, a vampire can walk into it like a Taco Bell or a bus station, because that's not a house, but you can't walk into a residence without being invited. Jason's in there. He's looking around. He's in the drawing room. Well, this is a good time for us to have a chat. Well, he says, I've got some things to do. I'm very busy. He is so nervous here. This man is just breathing so fast. It looks like he's gonna pass out. Oh my God, dude. Jason says, well, it's not quite the lap of luxury, is it? Willie says, it's all right. Jason says, tell me, exactly what do you do here? Well, it's like, I do a little bit of everything. I fix the place up. It's carpentry, plumbing. You better go. Now, please, don't play games with me. Jason's like, all right, no games. Just straight questions and straight answers. And he grabs him by the coat, kind of gets him turned around so Willie's more in the drawing room than Jason is. Jason says, I want to know what you're up to. Willie says, I'm just working here, honest. Jason says, you gave up work a few years ago. Swore you'd never work again. Willie says, I'm just trying to find another way to live. Jason says, you like money. And suddenly I find you here, working for a guy who's loaded with it. I want to know what you're up to. So then we hear Barnabas, like, I'll tell you exactly what he's doing. So he's there behind Jason, dude standing in the foyer. Barnabas says, did I startle you? Jason's off. I'm not the startling kind. I didn't hear you come in. Barnabas says, you hear that, Willie? That's a compliment to the excellent job you did on those squeaky floorboards. It is just no reaction from Willie. It's just, eyes are just downcast. He's just like he's not even there. Jason says, I was a wee bit concerned about my friend. Was wondering what he might be up to. Barnabas says, I can account for all of his activities if you'd like. Then he says to Willie, it's like, I think it's time for you to do that job you have to do. So there's Willie's like, yeah, it's time. And he walks out the door. Dude's got his head down like that. Like, dude can't even look up to walk. He's just so over it. He doesn't even care where the hell he's walking to. He just, okay, and he just goes. But Jason watches his friend just walk out just like that. He's like, well, now, that's quite a change in the lad. He was never the kind to be an errand runner. Barnabas says, Willie is an errand runner now. There are lots of things about Willie that would surprise you. Jason says, well, how did you manage that? Barnabas, I found a way. Jason, I just wanted to see how he is. So he works for you. Barnabas, yes, he does. I was just explaining as much to my cousin Elizabeth to her satisfaction. Everything is under control. Jason, I think I should warn you about the kind of man Willie is. Barnabas, I know what kind he is. Jason, well, if there's ever any problems, feel free to call on me. Barnabas, thank you. But I can deal with him far more effectively than anyone. Then the next thing we see is a new location. We're in Maggie's bedroom. We haven't been here before. She's got her head down. We can't see what's in her other hand, but it's a hairbrush. But she's just like, something's worrying this chick. It's bedtime and she's worried about something. But we're gonna see this room a whole lot more later on. There's a bed, obviously, end tables, little lamps. It's got French doors. Right now she's sitting at a desk. There's this sort of a Van Gogh inspired looking sunflower painting that's like you walk into the door and there's a painting there on the wall. I don't know if it's a print. I don't know if it's a copy that Sam did. But a nice room, sort of room you'd see like girl in her early 20s have. It's not, this is like decked out with posters of like the newest singers or anything like that. It's a nice little room, but there's a knock on the door, just Sam to Maggie. So she pops her head up, like, yeah, come on in, and just goes back to brushing her hair. So Sam's got his coat on. He's ready to head out for the night, but he's mentioning that this painting by candlelight is hurting his eyes. He might need to get glasses. So Maggie wishes that he could stay. And Sam's like, oh, is it because of those girls getting attacked? So Maggie says, I don't know. Maybe. Sam says, if you really want, I'll stay. Maggie says, I'll be all right. Sam just, he's saying that he'll try to get back early. But they, a hug, and then he takes off. She closes the door. You can tell they really love each other. Like usually before one of them has to leave to go somewhere, like hug, getting back, hug. You can really tell that they're each other's only family too, but that you can tell they really like each other. It's like, aw. I like them both too. I know you really don't ship family. It's more like a shipping relationship thing, but if there was like shipping for family members, I definitely ship Sam and Maggie. They're such a cute father-daughter combination. You can tell they really care about each other. But the second Maggie gets the door closed, she goes back. She just looks nervous. Like, if you're that nervous, how are you going to fall asleep? But she just looks, kind of, she sets down the hairbrush, looks out the window before she gets into bed. I'd have been closing my blinds, but she just looks out there, just shuts off the lamp by the bed, just gets into bed, just very, very apprehensive. But now we're at the drawing room. Barnabas is sitting to be painted. And he's mentioning to Sam that he likes the progress that he's making. And Sam thanks him. He said, this would go faster if I could paint the daylight. I hate to see a subject sit as long as you have. Barnabas says, time is of no concern to me, only the circumstances. One of my ancestors was painted here in this room. Sam, and you want to follow in his footsteps? Barnabas, yes. He says, your daughter didn't drive up with you tonight. Sam says, no, she's at home. Barnabas says, your daughter is a very lovely girl. Sam, yeah, that she is. Barnabas, you must be very proud of her. Sam, I am. She's a very hard-working girl. I'll be very happy when she marries and settles down. Barnabas says, I'm certain that your lovely daughter's future is already assured. So now we're back in Maggie's room, and she is having a bad dream. She's just tossing and turning. Kind of makes me think of Willie having his nightmare, or just not holding still for nothing. She sees something. They do this weird kind of effect with the camera. I guess we're going into the dream, because then we see Maggie. She's standing in, this is a dream, so it's like the whole background is black, but then you got a tree, and then a couple of just giant, like big stones on the ground, like big enough to stand up on, maybe about a foot tall or something like that. But the entire ground is white. What? It's not the floor. It just looks like it's she's standing on a rock. But what it is, when she steps down, that white stuff moves. So it's dry ice. When you put dry ice in and then it comes out and it stays low to the ground. I don't know if that's how they get the effect, but it's that dry ice effect. So the entire ground is just this white, smoky fog stuff that basically stays on the ground because she hops down and just walks around a bit. So it gets stirred up a little bit, but then it all stays down on the ground. You can't see anybody's feet. And she walks a little ways farther, and we get this other tree. It looks like it's on its last leg. I don't know if it's meant to be a dead tree or just that's what they could find, but just this a forest that's made up of two trees, some rocks, and a dry ice floor at night. But the whole thing is very kind of blurry. But she walks around, walks a little bit ways. She's getting closer to the camera, and she gets up so far, and she stops. And then we see what she's looking at. It's a casket. So she walks up to it, and she looks scared. She doesn't touch it. She's got her hands up, but then the casket just starts, the lid opens up on its own. So she looks inside, and we see what she sees. It's Maggie's looking at herself lying in a coffin, like she's lying there. It looks very cute, but she's meant to be dead with the hair and all this stuff. So that's freaky. And then we see like the actual, dream Maggie. She puts her hands on her face. She starts screaming, but it's like a disembodied scream. It's like it's not coming from her face. It's like it's coming from somewhere else. But she's screaming. She's looking down at this, and then they show it again, like her just lying in that coffin there, dead, and we still hear the screaming. Cut back to Maggie, and she's this creeped me out. It's creeping me out thinking about it now. But she's still holding her face, but it's not her face. It's like human alive hands and Maggie's hair, but instead of her face, it's a fucking skull. And we still hear the screaming. And, whew, and we hold on that for a while, and then jump back to Maggie. She's awake. She's in bed, and she's just screaming at the top of her lungs, just screaming bloody murder. So fucking scared. Oh my god, poor Maggie. It's scary as fuck, man. Just and then we see the drawing room for the credits. As scary as it is, I did notice this probably because I wrote it down before, but she's wearing a ring, and it's sort of like it's not an engagement ring. It just maybe looks like something of the time, like a little koosh ball, but it's only that big and it's a ring. Something like that. It's like we see it now, we're gonna see it more later on, but this is just the first time I noticed it. And I was freaking out because as I was watching it, I'm thinking, I've never seen myself in a coffin in a dream. And if I saw that, I wouldn't be scared because I would just, okay, just a premonition or wishful thinking, like that wouldn't scare me. But if I were to look in a mirror in a dream and see a skull looking back, that would freak me out because I will look in mirrors on occasion in dreams, and it's basically just my regular face. It's not idealized. I'm not better looking or worse looking. It's just basically my face. But then to like look and see your own face and it's a skull, that would freak me out. Yeah, I don't know if I'd wake up screaming, but that would freak me out. So yeah, she doesn't need that kind of thing happening to her. She's so scared about those girls getting abducted and making herself paranoid. Now she's having bad dreams and her dad's out of the house. So, aw, poor Maggie. That's a good place to stop. I've only got 5 minutes left. So yeah, I will have to rewrite that recap. I'll have to actually read what I did in my last episode and write a proper recap in there. Yeah, I accidentally recapped what I was going to talk about tonight, which made the recap in the description spoilers, so I erased that earlier in the show and got rid of that, so that's not there right now. I'll get that fixed, my bad. Yeah, it's I'm gonna be getting moved here this next week coming up. So on Thursday is when I can actually start moving things. So there's no reason for my reviews to get interrupted on Saturdays. The only slight hiccup that could occur is if the Wi-Fi is not turned on next Thursday at the place. Like I just don't want to miss any of the chat room. So like possibly I could miss the Thursday show, but on the other hand, why would I? There's no reason for things to not be set up by 7 p.m. So that's all that is for next week. There's no reason for anything you guys see to change. It's just that I'll be having to get things moved in a couple of days because I'm not going to want to do any moving on Saturday. I will want to have had that done. Brian says that's probably a good thing. You never dreamed about being in a coffin. Not a good dream for me either. Yeah, it's I don't ever like David. Like, do you ever play funerals? Sometimes I'm the body, sometimes I'm the guest. So it's like, no, I've never done that. I don't. I've never. If I dream about a dead person, they're not lying there dead. They're just still alive, or maybe I'm seeing them from the other side. If I knew somebody and they were alive and they were sick, and then I have a dream about them and they have their healthy weight back, I'm not dreaming that they're showing themselves to me. That's how I can tell the difference. Arden says, "Thanks, Nikki. Good luck." Yeah, thank you. Just gotta, you know what? Lift with your back and turn. That's a safe thing to do. Noah, lift with your legs. Take lots of breaks. Drink water. It's on the second floor, so it's just going to be a lot of stairs, a lot of exercise, which is I can use it. So I'm just mostly concerned with getting everything set up so I can be ready to go for my next Saturday show. In a worst case scenario, if for some reason I can't do a Dark Shadows review, I can just do a balcony chat. So I'm doing something so I get to see you guys. And yeah, I just hopefully it won't be raining the whole time, and just have to get it done. I'm glad I got a place sorted out. I didn't really mention it in the chat room except to one person. Brian says, yes, lift with your legs, arms, and not your back. Yeah, just, well, I told you about that time I worked at the factory. Every year we had the same training at the same time, and we had just done the training on how to lift heavy stuff. You know, lift with your legs, don't lift with your back, and twist at the same time, or, you know, twist yourself while you're holding something heavy. And literally in that same week, before they could take down the flyers, some girl got hurt because she lifted up something heavy and was twisting with her back, and she was like in her 40s, so it's not like she was 18. It's like, oh, she lifted and twisted, and that's how she hurt her back. And then I pointed up at the flyer on the wall, like, oh, that thing we just learned about earlier this week to not do, and she fucking did it. Nice lady, but just dumb as hell. I don't wish her bad or anything like that. I hope she healed up, but this is literally the thing. Like, you don't take your driving test and then, like, okay, I'm gonna double park, I'm gonna hit pedestrians, I'm gonna park on the curb, but yeah, thank you guys for having a couple extra hours to hang out with me and hear about Dark Shadows. Again, you can watch this on Tubi for free right now. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. If you do super chat to me, that just helps out with moving expenses, like the paying the U-Haul and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, there's no reason why I should miss any shows of my own, any shows in the chat room. So as far as you guys can see, everything will stay the same. So that's the important thing. And just have to do a lot of moving around. Ryan, there's always that one person. Oh, do not enter. Oh, well, I thought it was opposite day. My bad. But yeah, you guys are the best. Thanks for being awesome and sexy and based. So get some good sleep, get something to eat, get something to drink, smoke out on the balcony, be excellent to each other. And yeah, we will definitely see each other in a chat room this week. And then we'll be back a week from today talking about more Dark Shadows or something. Just have to see how the week goes, see how much work I can get done. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you guys again. You guys are why I get to hang on and do this and talk about my favorite show. So you guys are the best. Make sure you did smash the like button and that you're subscribed so you get notifications and I can get things sorted out with the merch idea. Thanks to everybody who voted on that. But you guys are all the best again. I might be repeating myself. So thank you guys. I will see you another time online. John Rogers says, thanks, Nikki. Yeah, thank you. Want to go to says, tis well. Yeah, tis well. Yeah, and until next time.